Hello again, Charge42 here with more Mega Man Battle Network 3. This is part 3 of my speedrun guide, and today we'll be clearing the Yoka preliminaries and defeating BubbleMan. That guy. This guide walks you through the entire game, scenario by scenario, and provides all of the information needed to follow along, even if you've never played these games before. We'll be covering a lot of important and fundamental aspects of running the game, so even experienced runners may learn a thing or two. This guide will serve as a baseline, with more advanced techniques and optimizations and follow-up videos. I should also note that while I'll be playing this on the white version, the general route remains the same for blue. But enough exposition, let's begin. At the end of the last video, we beat Beastman and you end up right back in Lan's classroom. Now I will say, I forgot to do something before I fought Beastman. Before you fight Beastman is a good opportunity to do the first Navi Customizer edit. You don't need to, but it has a certain benefit. Charge +1, you'll have it in the fights. Your charge shots will be a little bit faster. It's 20 damage charge shots, Beastman's fast, it can help. There's no reason not to do it before him, I just forgot. We also want to go ahead and put in SneakRun, that's the more important thing. The problem is it's a program, so it needs to go on the command line, and we can't rotate it or put it in, except right there. But in Battle Network 3 and a couple others, you can compress Navi Customizer programs, and you can do that by holding Select, and then each program has its own compression code. SneakRun's is RLP down, down, down. And I'll include that in the notes of the previous video and this video. And then you just put that there, and you put charge in the bottom right, and then you run the Navi Cust. So now SneakRun is always active, however it is not effective unless your HP is at a high enough threshold. And we've got charge +1 now, so that's good. Okay, and then when you get here, talk to your friends like normal, watch out for Orange Shirt Kid. And this time you get an email, and you have to read the email. And it's from Higsby. He wants some help. All of our friends are busy, so Lan's got nothing to do, so he decides, yeah, why not? Let's go help Higsby. He's a good guy. Because his shop just opened. And there's a couple things we want to do in the shop. The Numberman sign actually has a comp in it, which we can go into and get an HP memory. Alright. That should put you at 240 HP. And now is the number trader, and we're going to make a lot of use out of this. Basically, the way the number trader works is there are these 8-digit codes that you can enter, and you get all sorts of things like battle chips, sub chips, Navi Customizer programs, miscellaneous additional items. And they hid these codes everywhere, some in the game, but some not in the game. People have compiled a list over the years. And so now you can just go online and find all of the codes. As far as the speedrun's concerned, there are 18 that I'm going to suggest that you get. You can cut out some of the extra battle chips if you don't find them useful. And then there's 2 optional ones that you could get as well. So these will be included in the description as well as linked in the notes. So let me pull them up here. The only thing for entering it is you can go up or down, so if it's 6 or higher, you go down. 5 is a toss-up. So this is going to take a while. I'll go over all of the stuff we got after we get it, the chips in particular, but the unlocker, that's the second one for the 2 purple mystery data that we're going to get. Wait a second. So I've got these written down. It's really easy to lose your place, so you want to position them in your notes in such a way that you can easily visually jump from one set to the other. Like groups of 2 and 3 work pretty well. If you have all of them just in a list together, it's really easy to lose track of which one you just did. SpinWhit's a Navi Customizer program. Well, not really a program. An item that lets us spin white programs. I'm just gonna not talk until I get these done. Are we having fun yet? Alright, these next four are actually the core of the route. And it's the 18 that I recommend. They take a long time to enter. On average, it's going to be like 10 seconds of code, but they make it up. Some of them really make it up. Some of them partially make it up. The next two, these are optional, but there's several times throughout the run where you'll do a bunch of fights in a row without healing. So these sub-chips will let you do that. So we're going to get a couple full energies. So if you ever do a run and you find yourself like, man, I wish I could heal. Grab one or two of those. That's the two full energies. So that's all 20 Navi Customizer pieces, or number codes, some of which are Navi Customizer pieces. And again, they will be in the description as well as linked in the notes. Okay. So once you enter whatever you want, then you go talk to Higsby, and this is a cutscene, so hold start to skip it. Now this is as good a time as any, so let's go ahead and edit the folder and I'll show you all the stuff we got. We're not going to edit the NaviCust, but just to show you what we picked up, we got FstGauge, which you can't put in the NaviCust yet, because it's too big. We'll need to expand the NaviCust and get Spin Pink, so we can rotate it. Weapon level +1 makes your charge attack do more damage. Once you get a style change, your elemental shots will do more damage. Attack +1 makes the regular buster charge shot do more damage. So once we get a style change, we're going to swap attack +1 for weapon level, essentially. And we also got SpinWhit. So we can do this now. Okay, so that's the NaviCust. For the subchips, we got LockEnmy, which will be useful coming up real soon. An unlocker, so now we can unlock 2 purple mystery data, and then 2 full energies, which are optional, but they will heal you to full. And now we got a lot of chips. So at this point, if you get all of those chips, you can take out pretty much everything. I'm going to leave in Spreader, the wide swords, take out longsword because we need to trade it. I'm going to take out shockwave and dash attack since those are RNG chips to show you kind of like how the game would play without them. Here, area grab, hair shoes, and we're going to take rollout because she's a mega chip and we've got 6 mega chips that we want to put in. You can only have 5. We'll do a swap for 1 later on. So spreader is star coded. It's a 30 damage chip, but specifically we have it, spreader P, and we're going to get spreader N, so we can do the hyperburst or H-burst program advance, and that's in there admittedly strictly for alpha, so you don't even have to use it for the whole game, but if you have trouble with alpha, I highly recommend it because once we get to the alpha fight, you'll see what it does to them. HiCannon, it's a 60 damage star-coded chip. CopyDmg, you've not seen it much yet in the guide, but like CopyDmg Rockshot or CopyDmg StepCros or CopyDmg HeroSwrd can be good. Airshot 3, same as an airshot but more damage. Now these are 4 of the 5 mega chips we're going to put in, and if you do Salamndr, let's put them in order, this is weird. There we go. You do Salamndr, Fountain, Bolt, GaiaBlad, that will trigger a program advance. I have not shown a program advance yet, I don't think, but you'll see those soon enough. StepCros is probably this, like outside of doing command codes on your VarSwrd, StepCros is the single best chip that you have, because if you hit something in the middle, because it does like an X attack, you take 2 steps forward and then do 2 slashes diagonally, and anything in the middle is going to get hit for 260 damage. So that's good. HeroSwrd is the 5th mega chip we're going to use now. Eventually we'll swap it for Muramasa. HeroSwrd has a length of 3, Muramasa has a length of 2, and its damage is based off how much HP you're missing. We don't have a lot of health now, but eventually we will. GutStrgt S code, it's got a range of 2 and it does 100 damage. It's kind of like Gut Punch. It also has a command code. It's a really difficult command code, but if you can hit it, it's really good. Otherwise it's just a good single use chip. VarSwrd is like, if you can do the command codes for it, the best chip in the game, and more optimized routes that don't utilize master style rely very heavily on VarSwrd and the elemental slash command code, which I'll demonstrate at some point. I'm gonna have a separate video talking about all the different command codes and battle strategies, so that way it'll be nice and consolidated. Alright, I got 2 more to put in. Spreader M I got from just a random thing. So I'm going to sort by code. Yeah. I'm going to leave air shoes in for now. There's 1 more chip we still need to pick up, and then the folder will be complete. But what I like about this is that there aren't any RNG chips in here. Like, even the ones we buy from the shop, you're always going to have enough Zenny to do so. So you can always have the folder that I'm showing you here, and so you can use all of these strategies. And then you can customize it and be like, you know what, CopyDmg doesn't really work for me, I'll swap it with something else, like I'll leave cannon in, or swords. Maybe you don't like panel out, or maybe you don't like GutStrgt, maybe you don't like H-burst. You can change it. That's my favorite part about Battle Network 3 is it's really how you run the game is up to you. There's not like, this is definitely the fastest, until you start talking about RNG manipulation. But for the regular route, there's a lot of open-endedness and customization to it. I'm gonna rig air shot. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's that. So now, Higsby gave us, well, he's got 3 jobs that he wants us to do. So we talked to this first guy, and he's selling something, but he forgot it in Yoka, so we have to go pick it up so he can then sell it to us. Whatever. But there's 2 other things that we want to do here. Alright, this is the bag that contains the item. Once you get that, now we can do the next big thing. So this is Tamako, and you can go understand. And this is where you need to get WinStar. There are a couple chips that you have to get in the game to advance the story. There's 3 of them, and this is the first. So you want to go down here and get this blue mystery data, 900 zenny. And I'm going to save because we're looking for a specific random encounter. So every time I get to one of these dead ends, I'm going to save. I'm increasing my step counter so that way it's more likely I'll get into a fight. And if it doesn't contain a win box, I'm going to reset. Keep going. Okay. This is the specific fight that I'm looking for. Now, you just need to win the fight. The way battle rewards work and chip drops work is that at the end of the fight, it will randomly pick one of the viruses in the fight, and it will pull that one's drop table. Then it will look at your rank and go to that section of the drop table, and then there will be 1 or 2 or 3 entries, and it will randomly pick one based off the weights that are assigned to it. So it could be like a 25%, a 50%, and a 25%. Or like a 3% and then a 70%, you know, different distributions. So that's how it works. Fortunately for the win box, if you get rank 5 or higher, there's a 100% chance that you get WinStar, which is what we need. But it has to pick the win box drop table. So basically, when you win this fight, there's a 50% chance that you get WinStar, because it would pick the win box. So I'm going to use CopyDmg and then a bunch of air shots. Huh. That's air shot damage right there. So you can use the charge shot, it'll do 20 damage. The only other thing, I guess I'll pause since time's counting down and my rank is decreasing. The metal gears go back and forth. The boomer, when you get hit by it, it doesn't give you iframes. When you have iframes, you aren't affected by the wind. So if you were to, I guess I'll just, never mind, I killed it. I wasn't holding B. But if you get hit by the gear, then you have iframes and you can stand in the front of the row. So if you have like a HeroSwrd or something that you want to hit the boomer in the back with, you can damage boost off the gear and then get it. So I got rank 6. I got Zen. Okay. So, if you get that encounter and you don't get WinStar, that is why we bought LockEnmy. So then you can just go ahead and use that. So now we want to increase our step counter again. I'm going to run into a corner, advance. Okay, and then we get the same encounter again. So, let's do this. So again, that was the gut punch command code. So I held A and then did down, down, right. Then I moved up air shot cannon, buster shot, or charge shot. Didn't get it again. Now if you don't get it, you want to just reset. Because that way you don't have to build your step counter up every time. Alright, so I'll demonstrate this. So I got hit by the gear and then I moved forward and up, and then I used the HeroSwrd. And I still got Zenny. But that's utilizing iframes. I lost the word there for a second. Okay, so the boomer can be hurt by breaking damage, so we're going to rock shot him. And I got wide sword, so I'm going to damage boost off the gear, so I can get in the front and use the wide sword and then do an air shot. Okay, and we finally got it. Now there is another encounter that has a win box. There's only 2 kinds. The other one has a win box and 2 cannons. So if you get that encounter first and you don't get WinStar, you can LockEnmy, but that fight has a 1 in 3 chance of giving WinStar. So I would advise against it, But if you're feeling lucky, then go for it. But yeah, that can take as few as 1 encounter or as many as 100. It's entirely RNG. There is a way to manipulate it, but that will be covered in a later video as it's a more advanced setup. Alright, once you get WinStar, talk to this guy, and he's the subchip dealer, and we're going to buy 4 untraps. And those make green mystery data not contain viruses. In some areas, green mystery data can contain viruses, and if you use an untrap, it will remove the virus and then give you a reward instead. So we'll make use of those later. And then if you're all the way against him and then you run up, you can skip past him. So like, it doesn't work unless you run up. And now we can go back to ACDC. So remember to talk to the guy. Sometimes I forget. And now we can go back and talk to Hixby and move on to the second job. He says that one of his customers doesn't want to pay and he's in Area 1. We should go convince him to pay Hixby. But before you go upstairs, you can go into Land's control panel. And over here on the right, there is a blue mystery data which contains spreader N. And so this is what I'm going to take air shoes out for. I guess actually I'll leave air shoes in. Recap 10. Air shoes probably isn't worth the time to make that. Just get recap 10 so it's faster. And not WinStar, spreader N. So now we have spreader NP star, or rather N star P. And those 3 chips in that order will give you the Hyperburst or H-burst program events. Fortunately, the guy we're looking for is right here where the X data was way back when. And so, let's talk to him. I guess saving before the fight would probably be advisable because these guys can be pretty scary. Now, StepCros is like the perfect draw because I just StepCros, I move forward, I use StepCros, because with StepCros you'll take 2 steps. So you move to the front, you take 2 steps, you do an X slash, and then you'll do 260s of Sortie 3. You'll kill Sortie 1 on the backswing, and Sortie 2 will only have 10 health left. I really want to do it, but I won't, just to show you kind of what your options are. The main thing for this fight is you want to ideally kill one of them and then line the other 2 up. So I'm going to rock shot Sortie 1, the weakest of them, and then line up the other 2. Try to. Yeah, like that. So now, if you can get them lined up, after 3 attacks, they'll use area grab. So you bait out 3 attacks and then you take the area grab. And if you do that, they can't area lock you, because that's the worst thing that can happen. Alright, now the easiest way to deal with this would be to take Rock Cube and use GutStrgt and just push A, and you'd launch it forward. Actually, yeah, I can do that either way. It'd be 200. GutStrgt has a command code, and if you can hit the command code, it's like Gut Punch's command code, but times 3. It sends out 3 Rocket Fist, and they all do breaking damage, which would destroy the Rock Cube. But if I fail it, I still do Rock Shot. I'll cover command codes in detail in a different video. For now, you don't need to worry about them. Just use the chip as is. There's only one that I'm going to tell you. Well, there's 2. Gut Punch, which you already know, and I'll tell you the one for VarSwrd when we draw it. I messed it up. Yeah. And then you use the grab. So, that's the main thing for that fight, is don't let them area grab you. After 3 attacks, go to the front row. But you gotta watch out. If there's 2 in the front row, they'll use wide sword if you're not in front of them, which comes out really fast. Okay, and once you beat them, you get the 1000 Zenny. And we can go back to Hixby. And then he tells us about the third job. And here you want to do two things. Technically, you can forget this one. So like, say we go over here. We want to make use of Yai's warp to Scilab, which is right here. And to make it appear, you have to read the email. So we're actually going to do two things. First, we're going to edit the navicust. We're doing these at the same time just because we're in the menu, so like kind of why not? And we're actually going to bug it. So now that we can rotate white, we can do it like this. Putting charge +1 on the command line is one bug, and putting it next to two ping programs together is another bug. Both of these programs are Buster Plus, so you've got level 2 Buster bug. I think it's level 2, level 3. And that has actually a very interesting side effect that we're going to take advantage of. And then I left in undershirt. So Mega Man says he's feeling a little strange, which, you know, it's understandable. We bugged them. And you're gonna go read email 9. And that makes the shortcut appear. So now we've got a quick way to get to Scilab. You make a lot of use of that warp. And then you go talk to this person. And they buy Raton 1C from Higsby, you deliver it. And now we go back to Higsby and all of the jobs are finished. And then this is a cutscene, so you can hold start to skip it. He actually gives you the snake battleship, but we're not going to make use of that. And now we're going to go back to Yai's, because we need to go back to Scilab for a second. See, this person's new. So you talk to them, and if you have Longsword E in your pack, then she'll ask you for it, and in exchange you get the Yoka pass. So you have to do that because you need that item to get to the next area. It's possible that you get a random encounter there. You can run from it, but it's just unfortunate. And it's nice that Yoka Square is connected right to the train station, unlike in other areas. Now we're not going to buy it yet, but eventually we're going to buy an HP memory and Yo-Yo 1G from this shop, most likely. Yo-Yo 1G is one of the 3 chips that you need to advance the story. Unfortunately, the blue version doesn't have this option, so blue version has to get it from a fight. I'll show you where. Yeah. That's it. And now we talk to this guy, and this starts the Yoka preliminaries, and he actually locks you out of your folder. So that really nice folder that we just built, now we can't even use. But we get the pre-folder, which is actually pretty decent. And we do have a pretty cool buster because of the navicust that we did. So we'll be making use of that. Now the thing here is that there are 5 people dressed up as navies in the real world, and you have to find them and challenge them to a fight using the extra folder. That's the prelim. Slimers. So the best thing in your folder is pretty much Raton. So we're gonna use that. There's a really long cooldown on using it. Ow, my face. Okay. This is hard time. Just mash B. Just don't even. So, we replaced our Buster Shot with we replaced our 2 damage Buster Shot with a 40 damage Reflector. The hard part is timing it, and the meta-gills don't have a very good tell for when they're about to attack. So you can try and time it, or you can just mash. The second one is in the staff lounge here. And this fight is pure terror. Blue has already experienced this, so white, fortunately, you don't have to until much later. Alright. So we'll do that. And I'm actually gonna wait, because with more of them alive, oh nice. The more of them that are alive, the more likely your reflectors are to hit one of them. And this poor guy here, it's like the Navi's hiding in the school, and it's like they're not letting people come in and fight him. It's like, but I'm in the N1. That's the 2 for ACDC area. There's 1 in Scilab and 2 in Yoka. So we're gonna go do Scilab next. He's over by the vending machine. Battle me. Shrimpy still got. They attack randomly. Like it can be any number of moves. It can be 1 to 4 moves, I'm pretty sure. So just wait for the attacks and then reflect them. If it's like really far away, you kind of have to aim it in advance. But that's pretty much it. And now we go to Yoka. And these are the hardest too. You can do them in either order. I like going to the zoo first for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just I've always done it that way. So this guy's hiding over here, and you talk to him. And actually, on the white version, this fight's really scary, so I recommend saving. It's not as scary on the blue version, but just save on both if you're feeling a little unsure, because you've got to fight some really tough spikies in here, and especially the spiky 3. That's the problem one, because he attacks really quickly. And our strategy for this fight is to stand in the line of fire, wait for a projectile, and then reflect it. And so, if your reaction time's not the best, it's pretty easy to die. Oh my gosh. It's so fast. Oh gosh. They stop moving slightly before they attack, but even so. That's one of the reasons like we leave an undershirt. It'd be faster to take it out, and eventually you have to, so don't get too used to having undershirt, but it helps for now. And then the last guy is over here by the hot spring. Or the hot tub, I don't know if it's a spring. And the strategy for this is the beetles try and stay 3 columns away from you, and they also try to stay out of your row. So move to the back and down, or up. Lure one into the middle, and then wait for the attack, reflect it, move. Wait for the attack, reflect it, move. And this will get the one in the back. And then just take some chip to deal additional damage. So, Guard Buster works really well in that fight. Guard Buster works really well in a lot of these fights. Which is fortunate, since it locks us out of our good folder. Alright, remember, run up to get past that guy. You can always just go around, but, you know. And now we're going to go back to ACDC because we need to go back to Yoka Square. And the fastest way to do that is to use Dex's computer. The nice thing is, In AC/DC area, SneakRun's active. There's no GMD there, but keep picking up GMDs because we're going to need a lot of Zenny in the next scenario. Alright. And now mission 2 is a 3 gauntlet battle with another triple ratty fight. Oh gosh. I want to wait. Got lucky with the double kill. Nah, it's hoping to get dash attack. So the vacuum fan pulls you in. So I'm gonna take longsword plus 10. Actually, this should work out nice. Whoop. If I could time it. Now, unfortunately, guard buster. Oh, it does work. What? Okay, I swore it didn't. That's interesting. Alright, I learned something today. What? Raton. It's crazy. I thought I was going to get hit in the face. Oh well. Guess it's better. Ow. Ow! You'd think I'd, like, react to the noise that the boomer makes. Okay, we got it! Hey, finally. And then, once you survive the third one, hold start to skip the cutscene, and that's pretty much it. Shoot, a long time ago in like the first couple runs of this game, this is when you'd get WinStar because you'd go to one of the Yoka areas, which had win boxes, because that's the only one that I knew of at the time. I didn't know about Tamako's PC. That's old school. Alright, and now you just go home. So, we finished the Yoka preliminaries, so now, and you can save. I recommend it. It is faster not to. And we hold start to skip the cutscene. So this officially begins the BubbleMan scenario. And we're gonna go over to Mail's house, and we're immediately gonna get kicked out because he's like, go get WinStar. But we already have WinStar. So we just go back inside, and yep, this is it. And then you hold start and you skip a few cutscenes, and now all of a sudden, Mail and Miss Mari are trapped in bubbles. Indestructible and explosive bubbles. Because, you know, that makes sense. Right. So now we're going to go use Mail's computer for the first time. And we're going to go all the way over to the right, because this is one of the 2 purple mystery datas that we're going to get. And so you can push up. Unlocker will always be at the bottom, so when you go into the subchip menu, you just push up and it'll be on Unlocker. And we're going to get an HP memory, so you should have 260 health by now. And we're going to take the warp, and you're going to see BubbleMan doing a bubble dance. And you hold start to skip. Alright, and then when you get that email, you want to re-equip your primary folder, and read the top email. And now you need to chase BubbleMan into the Yoka area, but it's faster to go use Dex's computer, again, because it's closest to the train station. And actually, the last time we were at Dex's computer on the way to Yoka area, that's your first opportunity to do this, but at some point in Dex's HP, in this scenario, before you confront BubbleMan, minions, you want to come down here. You can get the blue mystery data for 200 Zenny. This is where you would buy Grass Stage if you did not get it at the start of the game. So we can go here and buy Grass Stage. And again, the white version needs to do this, not the blue version. Blue version you could come by in Viz's, but I'm going to suggest that for later. because we're going to make use of this grass stage in 3 different fights, and well, you'll see when we get there how it affects things. But it's a problem just for the white version. You just follow the trail of bubbles. Hey, green Mr. Data. 400 zennies. Alright. Let me go back to Yoka. Some high quality H2O. So this is the first time in Yoka. The green Mr. Data in this first section always contain gut punch chips of various codes. There's a trick you can do with GMD manipulation, but again, I will save that for its own video, because GMD manipulation I feel like is very important, but there's a bit of thinking behind it. Now, if you get a random encounter in this area that just contains water viruses, consider fighting it. And we're actually going to take a little detour over here to the left to see if there's any green Mr. Data, and there's not. That was a little unfortunate. Well, that's okay. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 spawn points in this area. See, this is the win box. Gosh, that's a bad encounter with a pingy. But this is where I used to get 1 star. So you're following BubbleMan. You get all the way here, and then you can't go any further because you can't go on this path. I can't fit. Mega's too fat. We need to compress him. So we're gonna go get some press data. So we'll go to Scilab, because in class earlier, Miss Mari was talking about data compression, and apparently Scilab does lots of that. So we're gonna go see if we can borrow some of their compression data. So you just go straight to the computer here. Don't need to talk to anyone. And we're gonna go talk to a very jumpy Mr. Frog. You can save here. Let's see. Blue's fight is triple shrimpy. White's fight is triple hardhead. So with this, it's annoying because the hardheads are invincible until they attack. But I did get Rock Cube, so we can rock shot them. And I'm going to take VarSwrd. And this is the one command code that I'm going to tell you because I think it's easy and it's incredibly effective. So you want to hold the A button, and then you want to push left, let go, B, let go, right, let go, B, let go. I'm emphasizing the let go because if you do like left and then start holding B, you have to have at least one frame of holding only those buttons. So it's like left, let go, B, let go, right, let go, B. Left B, right B. And that will do tri-slash. With some practice, it can be very effective. So I'm going to wait for the first one to attack. And then tri-slash and get the double kill. CopyDmg rock shot works out really well for white version. StepCros, HeroSwrd, you know, just whatever powerful chips you draw. And then you hold start to skip the cutscene. Now I'm going to restrict my usage of VarSwrd for the rest of the run, and I'm not going to do elemental slash except for demonstration, and then I'll show alternatives and only use that on bosses. Just to show you what to do in the run if you can't do VarSwords, because they are difficult and it's something that comes with practice. Alright. Now that we got compression data, we have to turn it into a Navi customizer program that Mega Man can use. So we need to go find a programmer. No, actually, I thought the L button text was "I need a programmer," which just sounds funny. You talk to Higsby because Higsby talked about being a programmer or learning how to program, but he can't do it. Then you run outside and you run into Beardman, and he's a really good programmer. So it's just super convenient that he happened to be there when we needed him. So now we can use press. And we're gonna go back onto the internet. Because now we can chase BubbleMan down. So go ahead and edit your navicust, and we're going to take out undershirt. It's gone forever. We're gonna unbug the navicust, because we're done with the guard buster. There's another reason, but I'll talk about it when we get to the next fight. And then install the press data. And actually at this point, go ahead and remove attack +1 and put in weapon level. Let me check my notes actually, because I have images of all the different Navi customizer edits, which reminds me I'm going to add those to all of the descriptions. I just got to remember where I put them. Alright, white version, navicust edits, and it is that. Okay. So, I gave a fair bit of thought to all the different edits to try and make each one most accommodating to the edit that follows it. So for this one, we're actually going to remove attack +1 and remove undershirt. Take charge +1, put it at the top, and then you want to take weapon level, put it in the top left, and press rotate it and put it in the bottom right. So like that. Now, it doesn't matter where the stuff is as long as it's in the navicust and it's either off or on the command line, depending on whether it's a program or a plus part. So if you can't remember like specific edits, don't worry about it, just do what's easiest and most obvious. Because you'll lose a lot more time trying to remember the edits than you will just doing the edits. That's actually kind of the biggest general advice I have for new runners, period, is you're going to lose a lot of time to forgetting stuff, because this is a long game. So just try and keep moving. Unless it's in the wrong direction, then stop, think, and turn around. Alright, so we fixed our navicust, and now we can continue. I was looking at how the segments were divided, and I think this might be the longest one. Maybe. 400%. Because, future segments are more subdivided. Like, after Desert Man, I split Plant Man up into 2 segments, Torah Jobs and Plant Man. If I did those together, I'd make the longest segment. Torah Jobs, I guess they're not that long. They feel long. So, now that we have press, you need to take a detour here, because we want to pick up another HP memory. Okay, now, this is a fight that contains 2 wider viruses. So if you get like a reasonable rank, which is like 5 or higher, there's pretty much a 50% chance that you're going to get a water chip and a 50% chance that you're going to get Zenny. This only matters for the white version. For the blue version, there's a Zenny route that you can follow to where you buy all of the water chips that you need, and you don't have to fight for any. But in the white version, you need to fight for at least 2 water chips. Any additional water chips just mean you have to buy less, so it's like a Zenny offset thing. So you need at least 2. So anytime you encounter just water viruses, take a look at the fight and see if you can end it quickly. In this case, I'm going to rock shot the Shrimpy, and then I'm going to wait for him to move into the middle. And now, a charge shot. We took out the attack +10, so I had to do additional damage. Okay, and I got Metagel 1C. So that's one of the 2 water chips that I need. And it's a 50% chance if you get it. So we won the coin flip. And now you go over and get this HP memory, so you should have 280 right now, which is good. because we want 320 and there are 2 HP memories we're going to buy real soon. Right. Now this is one that you would not want to do because there's only one water virus and there's no quick way of dealing with that. Okay. Apologies to Draco Dan for not using his strat. I will include it in the future update. So we can see both of them now. Now that we have press and we get deeper into the area, we do this anyway. You want to use your untrap here because these GMDs can contain viruses. I think it always says that. Maybe not. And they contain a lot of Zenny, at least 1,000. So that's pretty good. And they can contain anywhere between 1,000, I think 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and 3,000. One of those numbers might not be possible, but it's between 1,000 and 3,500. Most of the time it's going to be 1 or 2,000, but sometimes... Oh, this is the Windbox encounter that I used to look for. I've locked in and made this in the past. Memories. But 2,000 is okay. So now whatever we get from next is bonus. It's possible there are 7 spawns that we pass by. There is 1 spawn that we do not pass by. Another 2,000. Okay, that's fine. And let me go down here. So this is like a really long, windy, small path. Huh? I mean, this technically works. Okay, so Gut Punch, you throw a fist, it goes a range of 2. So I'm gonna push A to hit that guy, and then I'm gonna move down and use CopyDmg, and then move up, and then do Rock Shot. Because the Shrimpy in the middle, I need to wait for him to move. CopyDmg doesn't last very long, so you want to do this fight kind of as quick as you can, or because CopyDmg will wear off otherwise. And with the double kill, and the other important thing to note, which this doesn't really matter until you get custom style, which hopefully you should get custom style, we'll go over that in a second, is you want to get an S rank, because if you're custom style and you get an S rank, most likely you have a 100% chance to get a water chip. There are a few caveats there, but we won't go over those. Just assume that you will, or expect that you will. So one of the requirements to get an S rank with a double kill is you need to move 2 or less times, because if you move 3 or more, you lose your movement bonus. Okay, the Shrimpy was already moving, so I did not need to move back. Yeah. Like that. And I lost the coin flip, so I got Zenny instead. But that's okay, because we only need 2, and you have a lot of game in front of you to get those 2 water chips in. Like right here. So the one in the back is going to move first. So I'm going to CopyDmg the one in the front as it passed by me. And if the middle one attacks me in the middle row, I'm going to spawn the rock cube, step back, and then air shot it there. But if it passes to the bottom, and then I'm going to move down to air shot. And then I pause to give myself time to react to his actions. Alright, we got S rank and we got Bubbler. So technically, I have the 2 water chips that I need. I can stop fighting. Any additional water chips would just offset the Zenny cost for ones that I have to buy. And then you catch up to BubbleMan, and then you skip this cutscene, and he creates additional indestructible bubbles in front of you. So now we need to track down his minions, which have the needle to pop it, and they're in AC/DC Area 1, so the quickest way for us to get to where the Area 2. So the quickest way to get there is Yai's HP, because it's connected to Area 2. It's the only one. This is in Area 3. And this is a very important fight coming up, because this is where you get your style change. Ooh. I I thought about like editing the save or something, or manipulating. Maybe I still will. I don't know. And change it each episode. See if you notice. So I'm gonna save here for no reason. Oh, actually, we bought grass stage. So we need to put grass stage in because for the white version, these are the 3 fights. These, the Bubble Brigade, that we need grass stage for. And this is, I guess you need 10 to rig it. So, like, in part 1 and 2. In part 1, I was saying that if you don't get dash attack, you can skip the rig ups. I guess that's not true. You still need 10 to rig grass stage. Alright. So you want to rig grass stage. And it doesn't matter as much in the first 2 fights, but it really makes a difference in the 3rd fight. So now let's actually do this. So we caught up to him. Now we're going to fight. And these are the penguin fights. I really want to try slash. Try slash would just end this fight. But I won't. So I'm going to use that. Alright, so when these guys are on an ice panel, they can only be hurt by breaking damage. Which is why we use grass stage, because all of these fights start with ice panels, but grass stage will get rid of them. What if I got gut style? That'd be funny. Now, the way style works in this game, there's a chance that you get a water chip from these fights. If you get a water chip from these fights, it still counts towards the 2 that you need. So that's good. That's one positive thing about the penguins. Okay. So the way that style change works is that every fight you do that has a result screen will calculate, it tallies a lot of stuff during the fight. How many times did you send 1 chip? How many times did you send 2, 3, 5? How many times did you add? How many times did you fire your buster? How many defensive chips did you use? How many navi chips did you use? There's a lot of stuff that it tracks. And then at the end of the fight, it takes all of those things and does some math to give a point value to guts, shield, team, custom, bug, ground or shadow. And whichever one has the highest point total, or if there's a tie, they all get 1 added to their fight counter. And then, whenever you trigger a style change, which happens after this fight, whichever style has the highest fight counter, you get. If there's a tie, it randomly selects one. And we've done a lot of fights, but if you think how many gave us results, there's actually only 4. Flashman, Beastman, Windstar, and this one. So there are only 4 fights that determine what style you get. That's not counting element. Element is decided randomly at the very start of the game. And then the subsequent element is decided randomly when you get the style change. Doesn't matter about anything else. Doesn't matter what chips you use, how many times you've done fights, none of that. So that's pretty much it. So in the Flashman fight, you want to use a lot of chips. In the Beastman fight, you want to use a lot of chips. Send as many as you can together. In the Windstar fight, you want to use as many, like, if you can send 5 chips, do it. And for this fight, you want to use as many chips. I guess it's like 5 at the start there. And then, you get a style change. Oh, and not have the Navicus bug, which is why we fixed it before this fight. Yo, Aqua, sweet. Okay. Before manipulation became a thing, with folder stacking and whatnot, Aqua was like the best one. Let's say find another. It doesn't matter, you're not going to fight enough fights to see what your next style is. It's faster to just mash A and say improve this one. And then this is a cutscene that you can skip. But before manipulation, Aqua style was the best just because of the buster. So I'm glad I got to show the buster off, because it is probably the best buster. Now this was particularly for the blue version, which is what I did more runs of, because there's a lot of fire viruses there. It might be more of a toss-up for white, because since you can reg grass stage, heat style is really effective. And one runner in particular did heat bug to maximize use of grass stage, and it worked fairly well. Now after you win that fight, you want to go over here, and this is where we're finally going to buy the HP memory. Both versions do this. Yeah, and then heat shots and bubblers, you can ignore them. We'll get those later. So now we need to go to Salamndr. And remember to buy this HP memory. So this one's for 4,000. So we buy it, and now we have 320 HP, which is the number that I was going for. A lot of times I'd go into the warp. Oh, I forgot to buy the HP memory, and then go back into the warp. It's very funny. If you see a GMD, pick it up. Unless you know you have enough Zemi. Because now that we've got 320, SneakRun is effective here. Because there's a good chance that you get an encounter right there. GMD. And then we'll want to grab this blue mystery data before the fight, which is Invis Star. I'm just going to go ahead and save one more time. Now, our charge is still really slow. It's charge level 2, so it won't be that good. This is the perfect draw. I want to do this so bad. StepCros is all you need, because we are custom style. If you S rank a fight, custom style has its own special drop table for like S. It's like S+, it's a hidden rank. And so if I use StepCros, I'm guaranteed to get a water chip from this fight. Anything less and you're in the normal drop table. But I'll show you just to fight the penguins so you can see their combat a little bit more. I will not use StepCros. It'll make me sad, but I'll So I'm going to go ahead and hit him with the white sword and use grass stage to get rid of their advantage. And now the penguins just sort of move around randomly and then they attack. So things go out like a wave. Oh, they do block projectiles, so that's an important thing to note. That's pretty much it though. With the grass stage, it makes the fight a lot less of an issue. Alright, now we need to go back to Yoka. Yes. Which is another opportunity to pick up those green mystery data. Like, there's the first time you use press, there's the second time we go to BubbleMan, and then there's one more opportunity to get all of the green mystery datas, and that's in the Flyman scenario much later on. So there's like 3 major opportunities. There's another time in Tora jobs. Those are like the 4 main ones. If the first time you visit before you have press, you see 1 or 2 green mystery data, you can go ahead and use one of the untraps there. And you can technically buy more for additional uses. There's like 5 total opportunities. Probably 6 if I thought about it. This is a big game, there's a whole lot of backtracking. Alright, no autoviruses, so we're just gonna run. The ideal fight is like Metagel Bubbler, Metagel Shrimpy, and HeroSwrd as custom style, because then it's 2 steps push A. So we're gonna use the untrap, and we're gonna pick this up, and I got 1500 in it, okay. So 1000, 1500, 2000, 3500. So this is like a 25% chance. If the penguin for sure moved up, actually technically the Matar moves faster than the penguin. I'm gonna do this fight. If you can do the HeroSwrd code, then you can get an S rank on that fight. So you'd have a 50% chance to get a water chip, which I lost. But you know, coin flips are hard. But understanding all of the battle chips, how the viruses move, who moves first, the more you know about each of the fights, the more opportunities you'll have to like get all of these chips. Now this is a bad fight, there's nothing we can do here, we're just gonna run from this. No. Oh, cool. So there's one green mystery data spawn that is down on the way to BubbleMan. The other 7 are behind us now. So we actually got that one spawn, which is pretty rare, especially to get it on a time where you're actually going to pass it. So I can show it to you. This is a bad fight, stop giving it to me. Did I have attack plus 10? Wide sword plus 10, copy damage, air shot? That would have worked. Copy damage, rock shot. So this is the 3rd fight. And this time they start on ice panel, so even if you drew StepCros, you'd just be done. Except we have grass stage. So thanks to grass stage, this fight is nowhere near as bad. So our charge is slow, but because of weapon level plus 1, it does 60 damage. Your charge depends on the element. Alexa's is a Zappering, Aqua's is a Bubbler, Heat is a Flamethrower, and Wood is a Tornado. Which is pretty cool. Rock shot! My favorite. Alright, and we did not get a water chip. I think that's 3 for 3 that I did not get water chips from those fights. Yeah, and here's the green mystery data way in the corner. And we only got 1,000 zenny for it. Ah, well. Oh, so the master style chips can be used individually, but only if you're that element. So, because I'm Aqua element, I can use Fountain. Fountain is kinda not bad sometimes, but it's really circumstantial. Bolt is pretty good, but you can only use it if you're Lek, and GaiaBlad is probably the best one, but you can only use that one if you're Wood style. Shoutouts to Wood style. Shoutouts to Lord Bash. That's his favorite. But if I had, if I was Lek style, I could put Rock Cube down, use bolts, and get a double kill. Bolt works really weird. Like, I honestly don't know how it works. Like, sometimes it does a lot of really cool things, sometimes it only hits one enemy. It's positional, but I still don't understand it. Okay, so now, this is our first boss fight since we got the new folder. And there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. I'll try it for you, Draco, but I'm gonna miss. So there's a couple different strategies. There's strategy 1. Just use all of your chips and try and kill them. It's the pretty simple, straightforward strategy, but BubbleMan's pretty tough and some of the chips are hard to use and you don't have a lot of really good chips. Strategy number 2, just go for master style. Like, don't even attempt to use any of the chips, just add everything. Go through your folder as quickly as possible and use master style as soon as possible. I suggest picking one of the two. If you're confident that you can beat him, then by all means go for it. But if you have difficulty with the boss, being wishy-washy and trying to fight him while looking for master style will just slow you down. Picking one strategy and sticking with it is good. But it's like trying to fight him while going for master style as a backup is a good way to play and improve. All I'm saying is that your time will be better if you focus on one strategy. I'm out of practice. So, BubbleMan will randomly move to a different panel. Well, actually, he'll move to whichever one you're not on. If you're on the same one as him, then he'll randomly pick one. And he'll move a few times, and then he'll throw out some fish thing that chases you. It works very similar to Rattan, maybe a little slower. But the more annoying thing is these bubbles that he keeps spawning. Sometimes the bubble will have a fish in it. Okay, so since that didn't work, I'm going to show you... I'll try and fight him and then I'll do master style. Okay, because we got Rock Shot here. So if you wait for a second bubble to appear, you'll go through bubbles a lot more slowly, which will reduce the number of bubbles with fish in it that you get. Alright, we got another Rock Shot. Alright, this'll work. Once you get him below like 200 health, he goes into like a bubble state. And you really don't want that to happen. So if you get him down to like 200 health, you want to be able to finish him in one shot after that. Rock Shot works really well. He's only got 500 health, so like 2 rock shots and then a little bit of extra damage and you can take him out. So you can beat him with your folders. I didn't even use StepCros, which is like a free 260 damage. HeroSwrd's a free 180 damage. So you have things that can deal with him fairly easily, but the bubbles can really get in the way and run all that. Reset. AB starts select will soft reset. So we'll go back to before the fight. And now let me show you the Master Style strategy. Ooh. Right, so that's what we want to see. So you just add as many chips as you can. Fortunately, I didn't get a lot of same-coded or star-coded chips. Once you have 10 chips to select from, then you can start dealing a little bit of additional damage. The most important thing is to select chips as quickly as possible, but if you see one you can use, like, oh, I'll grab these. Because we're still missing one of the Master Style chips. Now, I do want to get him down to where he goes into the bubble so you can see what that's like. Okay, we got it. So I'll have to do that. And the Master Style Program Advance is Fire, Water, Electric, Grass. However you remember it. It's those. And then this is the PA scene where they merge together, and now we've got Master Style. So once he gets low on health, he'll like go into this bubble here. And I don't know if Master Style will actually pop the bubble and then damage him. Because the thing is, Master Style is a time stop. So you push it, and then Mega Man splits into a bunch of styles, and then he goes over and just like beats up all the different enemies, and then explodes. Every hit, including the explosion, does 100 damage for a total of 900 damage. So, because we don't have FstGauge yet, it's kind of slow, but we'll have that thanks to Mod Tools here soon. And it just depends on how lucky or unlucky you are with the positioning of Master Style. This is one reason that we've looked into RNG manipulation through folder stacking, and one of the follow-up videos will be how to draw Master Style first turn on every boss. It requires a lot of very specific folder edits, but it makes the delete time go from 54 seconds to 1 second. So, and that's BubbleMan. You've seen his attacks. The main thing is you got to watch out for the bubbles in the middle. If you get him to low health and don't kill him, he'll put on his bubble and fire out arrows at you. It can be pretty tough to deal with everything at that point. Once he gets low health, he'll actually spawn exploding bubbles, which I don't think I demonstrated. But they're red, and when they get next to you, they'll flash and then explode in a plus pattern. So you gotta watch out for those. You can destroy them. I don't know how much health they have. I think that's pretty much it. That's most of everything for BubbleMan. He's a tough boss. I'd say not as hard as Beastman because of how good your folder is at this point, but just pick a strategy, stick with it. Save before the fight, practice. That's it. So you defeated BubbleMan, saved the day, and now we can go home. And that's pretty much it. And you can save. I suggest saving, but it is faster not to. Good night, land. And that's it for the BubbleMan scenario. Mega Man Battle Network 3 is a long speedrun, but we'll get through it one scenario at a time. If you have any questions about the game or the run, ask in the comments below. Check the description for additional notes and links to various resources, including the full playlist and the Navicuss edits. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, maybe even learned something. Good luck to all future runners. Next time, we take down Desert Man. Until then, take care.